Welcome back, everyone. Let's jump right into our explainer for Module 3. Today, we're talking about something I know you deal with all the time, using AI as the ultimate bridge between special education and general education. As high school special ed teachers, you are constantly walking this tightrope, right? You're balancing high-stakes legal compliance with the actual on-the-ground realities of teaching. Well, today, we're going to look at exactly how AI can help you manage that balancing act without losing your mind.
Okay, so tell me if this sounds familiar. You spend hours, maybe days, crafting this absolutely flawless, data-driven, individualized education program. It's legally perfect, but then it totally struggles to translate into the reality of a packed general education classroom. The material we're looking at today highlights a massive communication gap here. You write a brilliant plan, but the minute that student walks into, say, 10th grade biology, the actual implementation of those accommodations just hits a brick wall. So, why does that happen?
Well, it's because we're looking at a massive chasm every single day. On one side, you have this incredibly dense 18-page legal document packed with compliance jargon. On the other side, a totally swamped gen ed teacher who, let's be real, probably has about 5 minutes to prep before the bell rings. When that massive document collides with an overworked teacher who simply doesn't have time for deep co-planning, things fall through the cracks. It's not a lack of caring at all. It's literally just a lack of time and accessible information.
So moving right into Section 1, building the bridge with AI as your co-pilot, we are going to model exactly how tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, or MagicSchool.ai can do the heavy lifting for you, translating those compliance-heavy documents into actual classroom-ready tools. Let's start with our very first practical scenario. We need to take that giant IEP and turn it into a super fast, actionable summary for your gen ed colleagues. Look, they don't need the student's entire legal history, right? They just need to know what to do today to help this kid succeed. The workflow for this is simple, but hear me on this. It is incredibly strict. Step 1. You absolutely must de-identify the data first. Strip all of it. Step 2. Ask your AI for a clear, targeted summary. And Step 3, which you cannot skip under any circumstances, you, the human professional, must review and customize the output. You'd use a prompt something like this. Give me a one-page summary template of present levels and specially designed instruction for a 9th grader with ADHD using this de-identified data. And just like that, the AI rapidly spits out a clear, teacher-friendly template. It cuts right through the legal jargon so your colleague knows exactly what accommodations to implement. And honestly, it does this in a fraction of the time it would take you to type the whole thing from scratch. Okay, let's pivot to our second scenario and see how this actually looks in daily classroom instruction. Because maybe you've given the gen ed teacher that perfect summary, but now they're working with a highly complex text that your student just cannot access.
This is exactly where AI really shines. You literally just type a prompt like, rewrite this 10th grade history text at a 6th grade reading level and add some vocabulary scaffolds. Boom! In seconds, you have instantly leveled reading passages, you've got scaffolded worksheets. This ensures the general education curriculum is genuinely accessible for your student, and it does it without eating up hours of your incredibly precious prep time. I mean, it is a total game changer for inclusive classrooms.
Moving on to our third scenario, let's tackle that communication breakdown directly. We can actually use AI to draft collaboration notes, meeting agendas, and oh man, those tricky emails where you're just trying to pin down a super busy colleague.
You can just tell the AI, draft a brief, collaborative email to a gen ed biology teacher proposing a 10-minute weekly check-in for a shared student. Having the AI generate a quick, friendly email draft takes maybe 2 seconds. It gives you this great professional starting point to initiate those vital co-planning conversations. It completely breaks the ice and just takes the mental friction out of that initial outreach.
All right, moving to Section 2, the toll booth, essential AI guardrails. Because before we fully cross this bridge we've been building, we absolutely must stop and review our non-negotiable legal and ethical guardrails from our first module.
We have to talk about PII, personally identifiable information. As the source material makes terrifyingly clear, PII is defined incredibly broadly under FERPA. Think of it like a giant puzzle. If you type in a 3rd grader at a certain school with a specific speech issue, and someone can put those pieces together to figure out who that kid is, that is PII. Putting PII into a public AI tool isn't just getting a little help. It is a catastrophic data breach. Full stop.
So here are your absolute non-negotiables. First, never input PII into public AI, ever. Second, you must rigorously review, edit, and individualize every single piece of AI-generated content. Why? Well, because the law demands individualization. A generic goal generated by a chatbot completely fails the legal test for a free, appropriate public education. And finally, avoid predetermination. You simply cannot walk into a parent meeting with a draft that's 90% completed by an AI without their input. I absolutely love this quote from the source material. AI can be a powerful co-pilot, but we must always be the pilot in command. AI is merely a collaborative support tool. The legal accountability and, frankly, your professional judgment for that student's education remain 100% human. The buck stops with you, not the algorithm.
Which brings us to Section 3, the destination, impact on staff and students. Because when they use these tools ethically and safely, we truly can transform the educational experience for everyone involved.
The impact across the board is comprehensive. For special education teachers, alleviating that huge administrative bottleneck means way less burnout and much faster prep times. For our general educators, it means clearer, easy-to-implement accommodations right in the moment. And most importantly, for the students, it means they actually receive the consistent, individualized education they are legally promised across all of their classes.
Let's lock in our key takeaways for this explainer. AI is an incredible tool that bridges the communication gap between you and the Gen Ed staff. But remember, efficiency must never compromise individualization. That is the absolute bedrock of compliance. And finally, AI doesn't replace your expertise. Not at all. It simply frees you up to focus on the complex, beautiful human work of teaching and collaborating. You remain the irreplaceable expert here.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. How will you use your AI Copilot tomorrow to build a bridge in your school? Seriously, just take one of these strategies, whether it's generating an IEP at a glance or leveling a reading passage. Open up your AI tool tomorrow and start building that bridge with your general education colleagues. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy co-planning.